Come along, Jack Bag. Come on and rock on the funky on. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. Come on, everybody. This is great.
And you are under recommend.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no way you can front on the funk. Welcome to the OZone, the funkiest podcast in the land. You dig, baby Bubba? Baby Bubba to the baby.
That's funky.
So, welcome to the OZone, live from Koreatown, also known as the Sad Dodger Nation. Oh, wah, 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 wah. Very disappointed. I'm your host, Omar Miller. I'm here with my brother, the icons, Terry Miller.
Yes, sir.
And we're here with the homie, Ernie, who decided to come through and record for us today.
Nice. What a nice guy.
What a nice guy. What was not nice was the Dodgers-Cubs series, in my opinion. For all the fans out in Dodger Nation, I know you don't want to hear any more analysis of it, but I think I have a special selection, an A and B selection, as we say in the church. Because something nobody's talking about in the situation, it really bothers me, is how sloppy they... You can't turn off. I can't turn off the funk. Hey. We just want you to feel. So, yeah, I think the Dodgers, why can't we turn it off? I think the Dodgers, honestly, made 6 or 7 errors in the 4 games that they lost.
Sounds about right.
Come on, dude.
But I don't think that they made any errors in the first game, though.
Exactly, which means that in the 3 games that they lost, they made those kind of errors. You'll never win in the game of baseball making errors like that. Never, ever, ever.
Especially in the postseason. Postseason's tight.
Tight. You just almost always bet the under in the postseason, folks.
Yeah, like tonight.
It's going to be a tight game. Let's get straight to it. What's going on here?
But you know what? I don't know if that game... John Lester's an American League pitcher that's about to face American League team. They have great scouting reports on him. Terry Francona is one of the guys who groomed and trained him. So, he might not just go in there and shut anybody down like that.
And we've seen him vulnerable to the run, to the bunt, and these are all right up Cleveland's alley.
Right.
I really think people are underestimating the Cleveland Indians. I haven't talked to one person who's like, yeah, Cleveland. Although I did see Chris Archer on First Take this morning saying that he was for Cleveland.
He's got his mind right because we've all been denying it, but Cleveland looks like the best team in baseball.
And they have for a while, actually. Yeah. The Cubs, this is going to sound like, the hater juice, but it's not, I promise. The Cubs almost were gifted 2 series. When you look at it, the Giants had them on the ropes and in trouble going into a Game 5 with Johnny Cueto on the mound that they didn't want to see,
right?
And the bullpen couldn't get 3 outs.
And they were demoralized at that point.
And the same thing happened when Clayton Kershaw silenced their bats after Game 2, right. And then they got shut out again by Rich Hill after that. They looked like children. They looked completely confused, and then the Dodgers gifted them a win in the following game. This is a serious issue.
Following games. Let's give
the next 3 games. They dropped 3 straight.
Yeah. And I don't like the fact that they blame Clayton Kershaw, because it's not all on him. You guys don't even score runs.
It doesn't matter if Clayton Kershaw gave up 1 or 70 on Sunday night because they didn't score. They didn't score.
You didn't score 1. And not only that, I saw a lot of sloppy defense that won't be called errors, but balls that should have been called, like the lead off the game with Dex Fowler. I told you that when we were watching the game.
Yep.
Josh Reddick has to catch that ball. It wasn't like a bomb or a line
drive. I need to
drive.
see it again because I couldn't see where he was positioned. I definitely agree he could have made a better effort. I don't know if he could have caught the ball, but I know he could have made a better effort. But the tone was set early. They led off with our man Toles. I was very happy about that. And Toles did exactly what he was supposed to do. He got on base. Corey Seager decided to not let him take a chance on stealing a bag and promptly grounded into a double play.
Right.
To which the Dodgers didn't get another hit for 5 or 6 innings.
But that shouldn't dictate, you still have to get hits. I mean,
you got to hit. What does that have to do with Clayton Kershaw?
What does that have to do with Kershaw? You put the pitcher in a bad situation where he feels like he has to get all the outs. He can't trust his defense because we have Toles out there now that's dropping fly balls.
You can't drop that fly ball, brother.
Come on, man. You dropped the fly ball.
That's how it goes, huh, son?
the watch, it hurts. It hurts bad, man. Need to take him out there and ride around with Alonso and train today. Maybe get his mind right.
Man. Yeah, but this is a heavyweight championship going down out there in Cleveland tonight.
This is good baseball. This is, Although the Cubs are susceptible to good pitching, not great.
Everybody's good, susceptible. I agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And Cleveland has had great pitching.
Yeah, and Kluber should be a real problem for them with that fastball slider combination. It's a problem, and they really haven't seen him that much. This is the difference, I think, because they've seen John Lester, or they have a pretty good book on him, and he can't afford to get anybody on base because they're going to run amok. You don't want to throw to the bases. Guess what? Let's exploit it.
Well, what about give me your quick analysis? But you were even saying back when we were in San Diego for the All-Star game about what the fans did and how that actually hurt the Cubs in the end.
Oh, what about voting the Cubs into every position into the All-Star game? Are you kidding? Now you guys don't have home field advantage.
And that's going to be big. It's going to be interesting to see if Schwarber is, if Schwarber can make a difference.
I know the Schwarber has a monster stick, but I don't believe that he has enough at bats to be,
I agree. It's hard to wake up and roll out of bed and hit Corey Kluber. Yeah, any major league pitching, let alone the best of the best.
Yeah. So, you're talking about they wanted all the Cubs to start. Now, Chicago fans, you have to pay that price, which gives you no home field advantage because the All-Star game meant something.
And Cleveland is tough at home. I'm here to tell you.
All American League teams are going to be tough at home with that DH spot. That's why they put Schwarber in there.
Yep. And they won a tight game. They've come back. You know what? I think Texas is the only team that came back more than Cleveland this year because they come back and beat you. They can beat you in Cleveland.
No, I think that what's hurting Cleveland more so than anything is this layoff. That layoff is dirty.
I agree. They needed that momentum that they had built up, and this is them being punished for only losing one game so far throughout the postseason, which is amazing because baseball, for people who don't know, baseball is not a game that you need time off on. Baseball is a game. You saw it happen to Clayton Kershaw. You saw it happen. You see it happen every single year, really.
You saw it happen to the Texas Rangers.
Sure did. Sure did. And now, what about Jason Kipnis? You see this situation, Jason Kipnis? You think it's
crazy ankle?
His ankle didn't look like that. Didn't look photoshopped.
I just had one like that. I know. That thing is killer. But you know what?
Killer!
This is World Series time, man. You can put some duct tape on it. Let's go.
I mean, he's in the lineup. There's no doubt about it. But I'm just saying, I wonder how much that's going to play. I mean, you look at these two lineups, monster lineups. The reason I go with Cleveland having the advantage is because the best two lineups in baseball, the best three lineups in baseball are in the American League East. And they are the Red Sox, the Orioles, and the Blue Jays in that order, in my opinion. Or maybe the Blue Jays, then the Orioles. But either way it goes, they beat both of them.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what else that they can do to prove how great they are other than go in and win this title.
They almost swept the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't act like they're not real. I mean, you don't like to think, well, it's not that you don't like to think. You just feel like the Indians aren't the team because they're not flash and dash. But I guess Bron juiced them up. He got them ready.
Man. Come on.
Tell them it's possible in Cleveland besides serial killers. Shoot. I mean, come on, man.
Why you got to bring that up?
They got too many of them. They got to shut that down out there.
What is going on out there in Cleveland? They love to throw you in a good basement and
throw me out the window naked or something. And then, hey, no, we were just playing around.
Yeah. What's happening with that? I don't know. But we're going to see later on if we hear Cleveland.
I thought that was the Booker T at first.
It's not Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I'm very interested to see. I'm excited for game one. I anticipate a tight game, but I don't think the moment's too big for Cleveland. One thing that you see from both of these teams that always to take note of in baseball, both of these teams always look like they're having fun, except for when the Cubs are getting shut out.
Right.
But even when the one game Cleveland lost in this postseason, they still look like they were having fun.
Right, and you didn't see them drop their heads or anything. I saw the Cubs be demoralized when Clayton Kershaw shut them down the second time in Chicago, and then in San Francisco as well. Their demeanor was completely.
I agree, and I think that if you can get the Cubs into a situation of an elimination situation, I don't know if they have that kind of heart to.
Right, I feel like they're mentally fragile.
Yeah, you know what, and this is going to sound like a terrible thing to say because I know how everybody feels, but I feel like I feel like how I felt about Golden State. I feel like they're a team that everybody thinks is going to win, that's supposed to win, that if you actually stand up to the bully and punch him back, you got a really good chance of beating them.
Right.
That's what I feel like.
I feel like it's crucial for the Cubs to steal a game in Cleveland.
I do. I feel like that's crucial.
I mean, because they might end up just like all the rest of those teams, down 3-1 and 3-0.
Well, if you go down 2-0, it's bad news. They just
news.
did the same thing I mean, Boston, in my opinion, was the best team. I've been saying it since opening day. I felt like Boston was the best team in baseball, dude.
That lineup is definitely the best in baseball. They have 9 solid batters.
And they couldn't get outs against the Cleveland Indians. They couldn't get guys, they couldn't get guys out when they needed to because those guys get tough.
Yeah, Danny Salazar's back on the.
I'm very interested to see if Danny Salazar. I don't think they would even put him on the roster if he didn't look good in those 2 sim games that he pitched.
Right. He's got devastating stuff, especially if you haven't seen him.
He sure does.
Problem. He's probably gonna strike out about 10, 13 guys
in 4 or 5 innings.
I mean, he has fuzz.
He's got fuzz, and he got crazy slide pace.
Oh my goodness.
He has the opposite of Joe Blanton.
Yeah, he's got the hammer.
He's got Hammer and Hank.
Yeah.
But speaking about how you feel, I'm going to talk about how you look because you look good, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You look good because you're wearing your 5'4". I see it. Nice sweater piece. Is that brand new?
No.
Oh, it's vintage piece.
Vintage 5'4".
Well, we're coming into fall. And gents, if you want to really look sharp for your lady, for yourself, go over to 54club.com, type in promo code Omar, and see what happens for you. And you're going to see that you get a discount, Randy Piper. And what ends up happening is you're going to have yourself a new wardrobe. Every month, you're going to get $150 to $200 worth of clothes for only $60 a month. It's a pretty good deal. Sign up. Let us know how it turns out for you. Promo code Omar, 54club.com. Moving on.
You know what I like about 5'4"?
What do you like about 5'4"?
Because they make clothes for any occasion. I mean, you want to hang out at the beach or the pool, they got you. If you want to get dressed up, they have you. You know, they cover it.
Yeah. What if you want to play ping pong?
They got you.
Wow.
Shorts, nice,
unbelievable. I mean, this is full service. That's beyond the read there. That was just a personal. that was a personal touch Icons decided to throw in for you.
Feel my boys.
All right, folks. You know what? I want to speak. We got a lot to cover on the big show today, but I know we have a caller that wants to talk boxing. We have our resident boxing expert who wants to have a speak on it.
Hello.
Sec back.
Hey, Ellie.
Reporting. How's it going?
Reporting. Get your sec back. Uh-oh. It's going well. What's going on with you, man?
Everything's good. Can't complain, man. A lot going on in the boxing world, in the MMA world. You have Ronda Rousey coming back. You have McGregor fighting November 12th. You have Danny Garcia fighting November 12th. Everybody's mad at him.
Everybody's mad at Danny Garcia.
They should.
I'm not mad at him because a lot of fighters do it, but the problem is that with Danny, it's like they get mad at his dad and they take it out on him.
Yeah.
And they forget that he hasn't fought in 11 months. And they keep saying, he only takes easy fights. What he fought Robert Guerrero. That's a tough fight. But that was 11 months ago, so you have to stay in shape. You can't just make a mistake of getting in the ring and then taking on the toughest challenge. That's when you get burnt.
Well, and I think the other thing is that he's got a tough challenge coming up because they just announced that unification welterweight bout for March 4th against Keith Thurman. And Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman is a fight that I personally want to see.
Very interesting fight. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman was a great fight. It was a very close fight.
Yeah.
Danny Garcia always finds a way to win, even though
he does.
Not always the favorite. Lucas Matisse was the underdog, and Amir Khan was the underdog. But it's good. It's good for boxing. I wish it wasn't in March. I wish it was much earlier.
I wish it was sooner. I wish it was sooner.
Ellie, this is Terry. What I want to ask you was, don't you think it hurts the fighter when they fight? It's sort of like playing down. So he's not fighting a quality opponent. So you don't think that's going to hurt him at all?
In professional sports with baseball, basketball, the superstar teams always lose to the teams they're not supposed to. The Lakers, when they were winning all those championships, always lost to like the worst teams in the league. That's a risk you take where the major upset will happen. But at the same time, Danny's so talented. He just needs to have a camp, get his body in shape, get used to the motion. I don't think it will hurt him because I think he's going to win. But if he loses, it's a major upset. Yes, you're right. It's a risk that you take anytime you step in the ring, and one punch could end the fight.
I think when you're dealing around with 47s, it's not many guys that have that one-punch power to actually put you in danger. And I don't think that his opponent on the next fight has that. I don't think he's got that one-punch knockout drop. But I do believe that this is a good prep for him. I'm a believer because Andre Ward had all that time off, and I thought it was smart for him to fight Sullivan Barrera, to fight everybody that he's fighting to get ready, because when he steps in against a Crusher, it's go time. There's no the rust has to be off. You can't work against the best. I don't believe that you can work the ring rust off in against the best.
No, and the funny thing is that both the Crusher and Ward, both of them are superstar fighters. Both of them are the best at their weight class, and The winner of that fight is a pound for pound king, but both of them did not look good their last fights.
No, they didn't.
Kovalev looked really bad against Isaac Chilumba, which was supposed to be an easy win back home. And Ward, I don't even know the opponent, but he didn't stop him like we all thought he was going to stop him in 1 round, 2 rounds.
Yeah, and then you heard all of the talk of Kovalev getting dropped by Triple G in his camp and the whole song and dance. And I don't that kind of thing never bodes well.
No, but sparring is not fighting, and we don't know. I wasn't there. I'm sure it happened, though, based on what people are saying.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Triple G is a monster, and he does spar big people, and he does have a heavy hand. And like I said, 1 second of not paying attention, that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Everything's good. I'm just excited. November will be a big month. You have Pacquiao fighting Jesse Vargas. The big question is which Manny will show up.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him where I have to say I did look like Manny that was eating good surf and turf was going to show up because he didn't look in shape like he normally looked to me. From just in his face, he looked like he's been eating good.
To me, it looks like he aged a lot.
He did yeah. I agree. And you know what though? But he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. It's not like he's just sitting around, flying around, living well per se. He's living well, but he also is doing stuff for his people and that sort of thing. I mean, look at President Obama. I saw a before and after picture when he got elected, and now that he's going out. It's a real serious difference that stress puts on you in politics and in the world.
Absolutely, I agree. And plus, look, when you're in the political game, it's 24/7 on the job. People call you at all odds. So Manny Pacquiao's training in the Philippines for the last 4 weeks. He's been mostly devoted to the Senate. He's been training every day at 6 p.m. So his preparation wasn't his normal routine. But we'll see which Manny shows up. He's the type of fighter that turns it up on fight night. Jesse Vargas, I went to visit him. He's so hungry. Jesse wants to win this so bad. The question is, who wants to win it more that night?
Do you think he has the talent to beat him, though? Really? Because usually a little toned down Manny is more than most people can bring to the table.
Absolutely right. But here's a question. Psychologically, when you announce your retirement and you turn off the fire, how do you start it again? Because he already announced his retirement. He meant it from the bottom of his heart. I'm done. And now he's coming back. The money's good and everything, but this is the fight game. This is not, he's not going to score 60 points in his last fight. It doesn't work like that.
Right. It does not work like that.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what do you think about this kid Anthony Joshua not being able to find a fight, man? Did you see now Klitschko is bowed out of the December 10th match with a random injury that I don't know anything about. Do you have any inside information on what his injury was? I'm
not sure, but the person who's lined up to fight Klitschko is Lucas Brown, a big, tall Australian who used to be a bouncer. I met him, nice guy, very friendly. Has no chance of beating Klitschko, but he's a very friendly person, so I'm not going to say anything bad about it. Anthony Joshua is the real deal. Malik Scott, who's fighting King Kong Ortiz, Malik told me that he was in camp with Klitschko and Anthony Joshua, and he said that Anthony Joshua did more than hold his own in sparring. So he already knows what Klitschko's about. He already maybe landed big punches, maybe took Klitschko's bets, because he told me that Klitschko, when he spars, goes all out.
Really?
And he told me that, so I could see why Klitschko would want to get back the titles and make more money if he skips one fight. And if they fight next year, then everybody wins.
Everybody except the fans.
Yeah,
exactly.
And therein lies the problem, and why we're going to start talking about UFC is because the boxing, it keeps the tone has been set by greedy fighters and promoters who, Geppetto this whole thing so that people are kind of put to face who they want them to face as opposed to who they're supposed to face. And that's a real serious problem because I need more fighters who say,
doesn't matter who wins, give me my belt.
That's true, you're right.
I need more guys that say, give me my belt. This is what I want. And I want guys to get out there and fight. And it never seems to end up working out that way. Every blue moon. Speaking of which, I hear this Triple G Jacobs fight might still happen on the 10th.
I don't know. I'm confused.
Me too. What's going on?
I wish they would get it together, but
that's going to be a good fight.
See. Yeah, it'll be a great fight. We don't know what's going to happen, but we'll stay in touch. Please send me a link to this so I can share with everybody. It's the best podcast in the world. We got to let people check in.
Sekback, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Ellie Sekback or on Twitter at Sekback.
There it is. Thank you, Sekback.
Oh, thank you.
You got it.
Later, Ellie.
Professional work there, folks.
It was insight. You get the insight here.
Ellie Sekback's numbers are through the roof on YouTube, and
because he knows what he's talking about,
and he's got the inside stuff.
Yeah.
He is the boxing Ahmad Rashad. That dude knows what he's talking about. He's there. He knows what's what. I tell you what else knows what they're talking about are Melissa's Produce.
Yeah.
Clean snacks. I mean, some of the best stuff you've ever put in your mouth. I'm telling you the truth here, folks. Go get yourself a box of coconut clean snacks and thank me later. That's all you got to do. Go over to melissasproduce.com or go down to your local health food store, Trader Joe's, Gelson's, Whole Foods. Demand Melissa's. Tell them I need my milk. Give me my clean snacks. That's what you tell them, and you'll see what they say. Very, very interesting stuff going down. What about this football season?
What about it? It's crazy.
It is a crazy season. How about this? I mean, people, I don't know if I've seen anybody, I don't know if I've seen collectively, more people seemed upset about the end and the entire Arizona Cardinals Seattle Seahawks game than they were about Negan busting heads on The Walking Dead.
I don't know, man. That was devastating.
That was a little too much violence for me.
He busted my head.
He busted head. That was too much for me.
This unnecessary roughness.
I need a flag.
I need a flag on Negan. Negan went too far.
He went too far.
Negan's
out of, Negan is Khalib Talib.
He's a perfect.
He's wow. This dude is out of can.
Man. Yeah. The NFL, I don't like them going to college rules, man. Do your own thing. You can't have games end in a tie.
It's just so un-American. Americans have no interest in ties. I've long maintained that this is why that soccer never took on in America the way that it could. Too many soccer games end in ties, and then you go to this point system. It doesn't work. Americans don't like ties. We need winners and we need losers. That's how it goes in America.
I need to taunt.
And that's how it goes.
I need to taunt. I need to be able to talk slick.
Yeah.
And I can't talk slick in a tie.
You can't talk
because I didn't do
tie.
Enough.
There is no Y and R in a tie.
There's no Y and R.
And what about the kickers? I mean, you got to. Both guys did not clutch up.
I know what's going on with the kickers this year.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in general. Like there's a like
just what your belt.
Just give me my belt. The football season, the NFL season. You know they're suffering from low ratings right now. They
low T, huh?
They low. They got low T. Hilarious. They're suffering from low T. And then they also have, these scandals that are going on. How about the kicker? How about with Josh Brown?
Now he's saying he didn't lay hands.
But before he didn't, I don't think in the letter he said that he laid hands. I think in the letter he was saying how he was mentally abusive and verbally abusive. I don't think he was saying that he laid hands. But either way it goes, the words that stuck out in those in the letter was abuse. And
now he's released.
He's released. But it begs another conversation, which is now the guy wrote this stuff in a diary while he was attempting to get help.
Right.
This was not a situation where there was a video of the dude getting beat down and blah, 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 blah. No, this is a situation where the guy was like, you know what? I'm out of hand and I'm a bad person and I'm a bad person to my wife and I want to get better. And he went out to go get help.
Part of him.
Yeah, which is a part of the healing. Now, it's not acceptable by any means to abuse your wife, or anybody for that matter.
He recognized his problem and he's trying to fix it.
This is what I'm saying. So now what are we saying here? So when if a guy says, hey, I have an alcohol problem, you know what? I played a game drunk and I realized I got a problem. Now, do you kick him off the team because he admitted what the problem was?
I don't know. What do you think the solution should be? Don't ask, don't tell?
Definitely not. Don't ask, don't tell. That's not the solution. Because
that's what you're getting. You're getting punished because you came out and actually confessed and said, "I have a problem."
Are you getting punished, or are you getting punished?
It matters what you want. You want a big pun? Give you some pun.
Yeah. So yeah, but you're right.
And it's not cool. I mean, because I'm trying to get help. That's why I came to you. And now you're blowing it up. You're putting it out there like, hey, man, this guy's out of control. Well, I recognize that I was out of control. That's why I came to you, so I can get some help.
This is why I came to you, to get some help. And now you look at the situation and you see what's the trip is then you see like how the Giants ownership has come out and said, yeah, we handled it wrong. We knew about it. And we probably should have cut him from the word go and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Now, what does cutting him do that makes him go home and beat his wife again?
I mean, I don't know if that's exactly what it does. I don't know if bad news is justification for you to go lay hands.
Well, obviously, he has good news. He's an NFL kicker. So if you're giving bad news, then you make him go home and turn it up. I mean, come on, dude. Give the guy a chance.
And this is what I'm saying.
What does your wife say?
I haven't heard anything from his wife. I did hear from Dexter Fowler's wife, though. You see what she wrote? She wrote that That was pretty nice. Is that Dexter Fowler will be the first African American Cubs player in the World Series in the organization's history.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Man, you talk about a curse that needs to be reversed. Jeez Louise.
That's real.
Man, what's going on here? But yeah, so let's see what Josh Brown just released a statement today. And he said this, and I quote, "I am sorry that my past has called into question the character or integrity of the New York Giants. Mr. Mara or any of those who have supported me along the way, I have taken measures to get help so that I may be the voice of change, not a statistic. It is important to share that I never struck my wife and never would. Abuse takes many forms, and it is not a gray area. Through the past several years, I have worked to identify and rectify my own behaviors. The road to rehabilitation is a journey and a constant modification of a way of life. My journey will continue forever as a person determined to leave a positive legacy and embrace the opportunities to show and speak about what has helped me to be that man. In the interim, I am cooperating with the Giants and the NFL. Thank you to everyone who has supported me. I will not let you down." This is very interesting to me because he's literally saying, "Hey, I did what I thought was right after doing what was wrong and tried to correct my error."
Right.
And now the league is punishing him for that because they're bowing to public pressure, if you will, which is just, it speaks to so much in our society,
Right.
It really says a lot because in our society, you can be as wrong as you want to be as long as it doesn't come to light, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
And then once you have all of this information that you hear all the time about men being vulnerable and not being macho and just recognizing that you're a human and blah blah
speak
blah
out on anything.
Yeah, and post traumatic stress and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And now you have a situation where a guy does that and he's still the villain. Yes, obviously, if he admitted and he knows that he was verbally and mentally abusive to his wife, he was the villain. But at the same time, he's working towards getting it better. This is the similar conversation to be had about the prison system. The prison system in the United States and its lack of interest in rehabilitation and its interest in punishment.
Right. And it was supposed to be there for rehabilitation, and now it's there to break spirits.
And that's what it does.
And then you reintroduce everybody back into society with no skill set, no kind of reformation, and you expect production out
And the
of
bitter
them.
beer face.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
but you expect production out of them. They can't. The production that they do give you is not positive.
Yeah, because they're being thrown in the middle of something that they're not equipped to handle, which is regular society.
Right. Time has passed you by.
Yeah.
And you brought up another interesting point was the PTSD.
PTSD.
Fact of it, because playing football, that's a culture of violence. And
It is.
And you can't
And you want them to turn it off
and
when they go home.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the guys that are in the military.
It's the same thing.
Once you get exposed to that, you can't come home and say, "Okay, now don't be like that." It's,
And you saw that. Did you get to catch that great special on HBO?
Which one?
That Peter Berg did with the guy from Lone Survivor, the man that the story was about.
No, I didn't.
And it was
not.
with him. It was with it. That was one of the pieces that I used for research on my character to play on the show Ballers. It was a piece about that. About with him, Tiki Barber, I think Wayne Corbett was on that one, and it was talking to different guys about being in the wilderness, about what it's like to lose that camaraderie of the team and the guys, and now to be a totally different person when your identity, your entire life had been tied into one thing. In this situation, that one thing was football, and now you're looking at guys who, or the military, and now these guys are supposed to adjust and find a new identity. And it's plain simple. It's just difficult. It's a tough ask.
I can believe it because, like I said, on Sundays, not just Sundays, but all through the week, you're training to be aggressive and to be vicious and to hit people at full speed. And then you're getting brain injuries and trauma. And then you say, okay, go home and just kick back and relax and wait until Monday and let's do it all over. But you're not supposed to be aggressive or any of that any other time. It's hard to turn off. You can't turn that off. It's what you are at that point.
Yeah. Really hard to turn off.
I mean, you're violent. You have to be violent. I've never seen
a football player, or you'll get hurt.
Yeah, I've never seen a football player on the field that wasn't a little bit violent or extra aggressive or whatnot. And most of the time when you hang around with football players or around them, you understand that they have that nature.
There's no doubt about it.
That they're willing to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah, or whatever they want to do,
or whatever they can have their way with you. They do come down.
Yeah, there's a definite rape culture in the world of football that I would say that I've definitely witnessed. Very interesting. There's a couple other things in the league that are going on that are interesting. Did you see this? The brother Marquise Lee on the Oakland Raiders got a fine from the NFL for using the N-word.
No.
He got a fine. Look it up. He got a fine and a penalty from the NFL, and this is a black man that's being fined by the official for using the N-word. And his statement was one to the effect of, hey, we're in the heat of battle. We got upset. You know, we're out there. Basically, the same kind of thing like you're saying. We're out there being aggressive and being violent. Words fly and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't expect to get fined for it.
Right. Now, in that situation, if it's on the field and nobody else can hear it but the other players and whatnot, I don't think that it should be put out in the public like that.
I think that's an internal issue. And I think we got a problem in the country in general of thinking that everything requires 100% transparency. That, like, literally that's an internal, that's like a family problem that they should cover and whatnot. The idea that they put that out in the public, I think that opens up a whole new can of worms.
Now, let me ask you this, Grasshopper. Where does all this fine money go?
This is like trying to figure out where does the money from the lottery go for the schools, because
or the
roads,
trains,
or the trains. Every time that I vote for a tax increase for the public transit in Los Angeles, I still got crappy traffic. So I don't know where that money goes. Where does that fine money go?
Yeah,
it doesn't go to the NFLPA, right? Where does that go to? You got to go back to the league, to the owners' pockets.
And they give out fines every week without fail, big money. And over fist.
Yeah, in the words of Ricky Henderson, big money. Yeah, they're giving out big money fines. Speaking of big money, let's talk to Trucker Dave. He's got an interesting perspective on the NFL right now. Trucker Dave, live on the OZone. How you feeling?
Hey.
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're just moving and grooving, living our life to the fullest and giving our 2 cents to the world of sports talk. And that's why we got you on the line, our NFL expert. We wanted to get your take on what's going down in the NFL right now. We got low ratings. We got Arian Foster retiring. We got Ryan Fitzpatrick calling out the owners and the coaches. Well, what do you think is going on right now? And I also want to get your take on this kid, Trevor Siemian, who I feel like is the genuine article.
Well, it's a lot going on in the NFL right now. I totally agree with you guys. First of all, Arian Foster, he had a great career. Doesn't have anything to be ashamed of. He can just walk away and hold his head high. I would have walked away about 2 years ago if I was him personally. Ryan Fitzpatrick had a great year last year. This year, who knows what's happening? Guy throws almost 11 interceptions in 2 or 3 games and then calls out ownership. I mean, you got to look at yourself before you look at anybody else. And what else did you ask me about? I forgot.
We were talking Ryan Fitzpatrick. We were talking about Trevor Siemian out there in Denver, and we were talking about Arian Foster retiring.
Now, you think Siemian is the truth? I don't think he's the truth.
I'm not mad at the kid, man. He's performing, and this is not like his. This isn't. I think that for the shoes that he stepped into, he's performing.
I really don't care for it because he has like 2 all-world receivers.
Yeah, but why are you going to punish him for having some good receivers? What do you think, Trucker Dave?
Well, it's not that he has the 2 all-world receivers. What you need to look at is he has a pretty good offensive line down there in Denver. And you got C.J. Anderson, who I've always liked, a little shifty running back. You really have a great organization in Denver, so it gives a young quarterback a lot of room to make some mistakes, even though he's not making any. So I don't have anything bad to say about him. I know he looks better than Brock Osweiler, who you paid $72 million to, so heads up to John Elway. I guess he knows a little bit about quarterback.
There you go with that. And what do you think about this situation out there in Chicago? It's just unbelievable to me, the amount of chances that Jay Cutler gets and the way he talks slick in the whole song and dance. You see that they said that his coach really talked about supporting him and his job isn't in jeopardy when he comes back, blah, 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 blah. And Cutler responded to the effect of, well, he doesn't have a choice, I guess, at this point. Brian's out, so I got to go. I mean, this guy, he's just unbelievable to me. He's the epitome of the spoiled athlete.
Well, he is a spoiled athlete, and he was really the same guy when he was in Denver. I mean, it's not much has changed. He's a guy who has a great arm, and that's about it, He doesn't put all of his mechanics together, and it doesn't seem like he's that serious about what he's doing. So there's your results right there.
Yeah, and he still gets paid a boatload of money.
Chances. Yeah, he's gotten so many chances. I like what Brian Hoyer was doing. It's just that Brian Hoyer got hurt. Why did he get hurt? Terrible offensive line. There you go. I mean, in football, if you have a bad offensive line, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
You are not going to survive, man.
Yep. You're absolutely right about that. Now, the Icons over here brought up a great point, and before Sunday's Steelers Patriots game, we know that you are a New England Patriots aficionado. He was talking about how Mike Tomlin needs to step up and win the big game, and the big game meaning win without Big Ben. Because we know good and well that if it was Belichick on the other side and he didn't have Tom Brady, he would find some way to win or find some way to make the game very, very tight and uncomfortable. What do you think it is that Mike Tomlin and the squad over there, they just can't, despite all the weapons, it doesn't seem like without a full squad, they're not probably going to get it done?
You know what? I think one of his biggest problems is, when in doubt, always turn to your star running back. Just put the
give the ball to Jerome Bettis.
Well, you got Le'Veon Bell, use him. And, kill the play clock, kill the game clock, shorten the game. That's where your mistake is. Second of all, pay attention to the draft on defense. You guys have problems in your secondary. You have problems up front. It's just problems everywhere in Pittsburgh.
What about a backup quarterback?
Well, you can look at that too, man. I mean, I thought Landry Jones did as well as you can ask a guy like Landry Jones to do. But you have to look at, Big Ben has been hurt for the last couple of years, so
yeah, you have to kind of expect.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You need to get another premier guy. What I want to know is, what's the difference between a guy like Landry Jones and a guy like Dak Prescott, who comes in and he says, you know what? Oh, I'm the backup guy, but guess what? I come in and I balled. You got guys who come in, the guys that came in for the Tom Brady when he was hurt.
Exactly.
You got backup guys that are ready to go. And at some teams, and I don't know, I guess, enough about football to say whether it's just a matter of paying attention to your backup. Seeing that injuries are so common in football, you would think that paying attention is, to your backup quarterback would be pretty important. But no one seems to want to pay that money to have your backup quarterback be somebody notable.
Right. Well, Landry Jones stunk the joint up last year when Big Ben got hurt.
Last year, but you start talking about Dak Prescott, and you're talking about a key word that starts with a P, and that is poise. And he has it, man. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people can slow the game down, some people can slow life down. Dak Prescott is one of those guys, whether they don't want to give him credit or they do. That guy's a winner, man. Some people are,
he is.
And he's one of them.
Yeah.
Winner, man. You walk with that confidence, and you show it in the game, and that's what he's doing, and everybody's following him. And they're having fun. You can tell when the teams are having fun.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the same thing with baseball. Both the Indians and the Cubs throughout the season and throughout the playoffs are having fun. And all of these, we're talking about grown men playing children's games, even though the NFL is a man's game, but football in itself is a boy's game. And all of these guys, you need to have fun. It can't just be strictly business or you won't be successful. I haven't seen that work once, really, like that.
It hasn't worked, man. I mean, if you looked at Game 6, before the Dodger game, what were the fans on LA radio saying? Series is over. So that attitude, it's like a cancer. It goes from the players to the team. That's just basically showing that your team, it seems like you're lacking heart somewhere. If your fans feel like it's over when before Game 6 even starts, man, come on. And
yeah.
You can't give up like that.
Yeah, you got to believe. And we're not, right now it looks like Cleveland is believe land indeed because they're out there, they're ready to go. You got the series starting out there tonight, and then tomorrow night King James gets ringed up and hangs up the banner. That's got to feel good for everybody except for Hugh Jackson and the Browns because
it's tonight, right?
Well, let me give you a quick example. They said the Sparks were really down after they lost Game 4 to Minnesota, and then guess what they said happened? Magic Johnson walks into the locker room, and everybody is just like, everybody is picked up because the Magic is a stone cold winner. So, people that have that winning attitude, it's like contagious. Some people have it. If you could bottle it, you'll be the world's first trillionaire. I mean, zillion, all of them combined. And some people got that, that whole winning feeling about them. Magic made it rub off. Too bad he couldn't make it rub off on the Dodgers, but he wasn't at that game, so he chose to go to a Sparks game instead of the Dodgers game.
Which is pretty interesting. Which is pretty interesting.
Pretty interesting, man.
Wow.
I'm like, looking at this dude on TV, like, man, ain't you supposed to be at the Dodgers game?
He wasn't even there.
I knew they could do it.
Yeah, you know, I like. I agree with your takes on all the whole song and dance. And back to Arian Foster. You know, Arian Foster was a great running back for the time. Man, when he was
awesome.
He was awesome, and he did a lot for the vegan community because he was like the first dude to come out as like vegan and strong. And like I don't know if he's vegan or vegetarian, but he's but he was one of the dudes that came out with that. And you know what? Thank God he didn't get beat up too bad in hanging it up too late. I think that his retirement letter was really heartfelt because he was talking about exactly what it is that drove him to success in the game is eventually what it was that was going to make him have to retire. And it was the fact that his body couldn't keep up with what it was that he needed to do to be successful. And this is just the plight of the NFL. It's the plight of all athletes eventually because Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, running backs especially. I think they have like a 2-3 year
something like that
life expectancy. Yeah.
Damn, you killed it. That's murder.
That's murder.
Life expectancy, huh? Jeez.
Life in the league.
But what a career, man, when you can just walk away at 30 years old, you still look great. I mean, you can just choose. He could be an analyst. He could.
You could go right for ballers. This is exactly what Rashard Mendenhall did. Mendenhall decided that he was going to wrap his up. He got his cheese, and he got back into something that he liked to do other than play football, which is creative writing. And now he's one of the producers and writers on Ballers.
Well, I think that
look at that.
They're turning things around on NFL too. With that. You know, because a lot of guys are doing that. Go.
Yeah, that's true. And look at the two of them. Most of these guys are from small towns. And most of these small towns that I go through, cost of living is cheap. So basically, you made enough money, you buy your house, you square your family away, and you decide what you want to do with the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Pretty good at 30 years old, man.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
And what I was saying is that like a lot of these NFL players are walking away young now, you know, which is very, very smart because they don't
very smart.
You don't sit around and wait until they
it's like the boxers.
Yeah.
You don't
retire.
Yeah. You need to retire before the game retires you.
Yeah.
Right. I totally agree with that, man. I mean, and the NFL is changing because these guys are complaining because they're not getting football money. But if you really look at it, they're getting the best money they've ever gotten before. When we were little, ask T, he can tell you how much those guys like Dave Butts and them were getting next to nothing, man, and they were killing themselves.
Right.
Yeah, you have to work in off season.
Yeah. Well, Trucker Dave, always an interesting insight from you. Appreciate having you on the line. Wherever you are in this great state of a great country, the United States of America, take care of yourself, and we'll talk with you soon.
Okay. Nice to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Like,
always good insight from Trucker Dave.
Right.
Always good insight.
Our guys go deep, man.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Have
Subterranean.
opinions,
And speaking of going deep, I want to go deep on our next topic. I want to go deep and talk about the NBA starting up and the NBA super team. Because nowadays the super team, I mean, I'm seeing people talk about really the regular season is just kind of a waste of time because it's going to be the trilogy of Cleveland versus Golden State. And you know what? I don't know if history supports that idea.
Yeah, the history doesn't support it, but the NBA does. You know, it's the whole theory of it all, and that's the downside. You know, you are sort of guided and molded to understand and accept that these are the teams that are going to meet, and if they wouldn't meet, it would be like Donald Trump winning almost. You know, you wouldn't think that that's going to happen.
Well, I'm looking at the teams. I'm looking at the various super teams, if you will, that didn't work, and I got 15 teams that did not work. I got the 2002 Washington Wizards, Michael Jordan, Christian Laettner, and Kwame Brown, Jerry Stackhouse. That didn't work. You got the 2013-14 Brooklyn Nets with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Jason Terry. That didn't work. You got that Rocket squad that they put together with Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, Stevie Franchise.
That team was bananas.
Bonzi Wells. Remember Bonzi Wells?
Bonzi Wells was nice.
Wow. Yeah,
Portland.
That didn't work. You got the 2009 Cleveland Cavaliers with the Diesel, King James, Anton Jameson.
That should have worked though. They put the Diesel. They didn't let the Diesel play enough.
They didn't. I didn't understand. What are you doing?
That get you over the top. I don't care even the
old Diesel.
even the old Diesel's too much.
He's too much. Mike Brown played with that one.
Played. Can't roll with that.
His strategy wasn't right.
Mine wasn't right.
The 2001 Kings, even though I don't think this is a super team, but you got Bobby Jackson, Mike Bibby, Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic. They had a nice squad.
They challenged the Lakers.
Vlade, Doug Christie. They challenged the Lakers. Now, this is a team that I think is a super team that nobody talks about, is this 92-93 Phoenix Suns team. This squad was legit. Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley, Tom Chambers, Danny Ainge, and Charles Brown Mound of Rebound Barkley.
Yeah, that was a real team. Danny Ainge was old, though.
Danny Ainge was old. He was still wet.
Got to be able to get your shot off.
I mean,
can't put in his minutes. But the thing of it is, man, all these teams are putting a team together to beat LeBron James, which is unbelievable.
That's exactly what they're doing.
One guy that everybody says, hey, let's stack up against, because Cleveland hasn't done a lot of stuff to, they're
not
still,
like that. Yeah.
They're still rolling with the people.
Look at this. You got that Heat team that first year that didn't win with Bosh, Wade, and when he's talking about he's going to get 6 championships, and then Bron. This may be the best one, second best one that didn't work. Is it that 96 Houston Rockets team?
I thought you was going to bring up Seattle got a crazy team, too.
Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, and Hakeem. You guys are supposed to win.
They had somebody else.
That's Scottie Pippen, I do believe. Did they have Scottie Pippen? They had a monster squad.
That squad was...
That squad was crazy. And then the 2004 and 5 Indiana Pacers. I hated that they lost.
What about the Lakers put together a team that didn't win?
I'm trying to go down the list. You just won't wait. I don't know why you just keep jumping in. Keep jumping. Go ahead. Go with it then.
So many teams out there.
I told you there's only 15 of them. You don't want to wait. Yeah, you got that Pacers squad that had Ron Artest, Reggie Miller, Jermaine O'Neal, Steven Jackson with the Monster Squad. Maybe the best one, even better than that Lakers squad, which got to be number one, is that Orlando Magic squad with Young Penny and Young Diesel. That team was crazy.
Now, do you consider that like one of those made-up teams? That team wasn't made up.
No, they were drafted, and they did the right thing.
I'm talking about teams that were plugged and played to.
Then that is the greatest one of those that didn't work is the 2003 Lakers with Kobe, Gary Payton, the Diesel, Karl Malone. I mean, that is absurd, and they just completely and totally got outcoached.
That's the only thing that could be the team like that.
They got outcoached, and then not just that. You couldn't make Kobe Bryant recognize that they shouldn't ever lose. They shouldn't lose one game, that team.
So studs out there, you pulling off the bench.
You pulling studs off the bench. Hold on 1 second. Let's see what DC Sly's on the line.
Yo, wow.
Yo, what's up, man?
DC Sly on the line live in the OZone. We're talking hoops, DC Sly. We want to know what you think about it.
What's up, man?
All the way live. What's going on?
All the way live with DC Sly.
You got it.
What's good? So what we're covering right now is these super teams throughout history who couldn't get it done because the NBA is just stacked full of super teams right now. You basically got, I would say, 3 to 4 super teams in the NBA right now. And we're looking at all the super teams who could not get it done, primarily that 03 Lakers team with Karl Malone, Diesel, Gary Payton, and Kobe Bryant in that starting 5 that was just absurd. And you have a lot of these super teams when you go throughout history who just couldn't get it done. Now, on paper, I really don't think that the Golden State Warriors should lose to anybody. They can potentially go like 82-0 because anybody on that team can beat you on any given night. There's an argument that Zaza Pachulia is even an upgrade to Bogut because he can run the floor with them. What do you think about the situation in the NBA right now? And who do you like?
Yeah. Well, first, I think that super team label gets thrown out there a little too often. But like you mentioned, there are certain teams that they label super team that couldn't get it done because they weren't really a super team. They were just a collection of super players.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. I think that's off top.
That's great insight.
Yeah, it is.
And now,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and now you're looking at, now what do you think? Now, do you think that Golden State Warriors team, I haven't caught any NBA preseason action with them. I was talking to my buddy Robbie the other night, and he was saying that they were up by like 35 against the Lakers, and basically it was just like an exhibition game for these guys. Like literally anybody could do anything they wanted to at any given time.
Yeah, I tuned in for a couple games, and I honestly didn't even end up watching it too much because it just seemed like that. It was like, oh, this is over.
Wow.
They were about like 30 something already in the third quarter. I forgot who they were playing, man, and I was just like, well, I got stuff to do.
So now, now, as somebody who spent a lot of time in Texas, how do you feel about that San Antonio squad they put together? I still think they got a great squad. I think they got a super team.
I do too. They have a great team, and I mean, the thing with them is it's like we used the analogy before. They're like the agents in the Matrix. They will bust your ass, but at the same time, their ability is set up by the rules in the format
system
that they run.
Right.
Yeah, that system. So if you come with that chaos like Durant and Westbrook, you can beat them. But they're great. I mean, they're an awesome team. It's hard to beat them, but they can be beat because of that.
I feel like with Golden State, they're a little overrated. They're talking about they're the super team and whatnot, but they don't really have a strong bench like that.
True.
But at the same time, if you can stretch it out like that, do you really need the strong bench?
Yeah, you always need substitutes. Somebody's going to eventually get hurt, and you're going to have to plug and play players. And if you take out a Durant, and who are you going to bring in to make that difference? Are you going to bring in a defender? Are you going to bring in another shooter? What are you going to do? But when they go to the bench, they're basically bringing like third stringers in.
Well, they got Livingston and Iggy still. He still got a little bit left in him.
I agree. I don't think that their bench play is subpar like that, personally. I think that I think the squad looks serious. I'm interested to see how it is in practice and not just in theory, you know what I mean? But I'm also interested to see about this New York Knicks situation because I still believe in Derrick Rose. I think he has the potential, I don't think to be the greatest player in the NBA anymore, but I think that team over there, this is going to be a make or break year for the organization. I don't see how they can beat Cleveland. And I also don't see how they can beat Chicago. I think Chicago is the sleeper in this situation because people always underestimate Dwayne Wade, even when he was with LeBron James. I don't know why, but he's like Rodney Dangerfield. No respect for some reason.
Yeah, you go back and look at his career and you'd be like, man, he's one of the GOATs.
He's one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
That guy is a killer, too. He's got ice water in his veins. No matter what the situation, that dude can get it done.
Well, they have Jimmy Butler. They picked up Rajon Rondo, and now they just traded for Michael Carter-Williams.
Come on, man. They got the squad. Yeah. Michael Carter-Williams has that weird jumper, but they got a squad.
It works.
They got Gabby Union headed up their social media. Watching that.
And what's better than that?
Right.
Yeah, this is real, though. They have a serious situation over there. And I'm really interested to see because as many super teams that they are, I feel like they're sleeper teams that bring a little bit of parity that can creep up on you from time to time.
Like Atlanta.
Like Minnesota. Like the Timberwolves from time to, can
Celtics.
Like the Celtics. That's the one preseason game that I actually saw. I went and watched the Celtics preseason game, and they are real.
Celtics got better, and they were pretty good last year, honestly.
Yeah. Celtics got better.
They're going to be one of those teams.
Now, what do you think? What do you think about that kid, Brandon Ingram?
Well, I think he's going to be pretty good. I think I like his game for the NBA. All right, I think he's going to be.
He sure is skinny, man. I saw him at the Rams game.
Really?
Oh man, don't expect him to set any hard picks. I tell you that much. Jeez Louise.
They're comparing him to Durant.
I mean, he's tall like that. He's long. He's long like that. He's long and lean like that. That's a big comparison though. That's
right.
I mean, I honestly kind of liked him for being the first pick just because he can shoot, and I think shooting in the NBA, the way the game is spread out and everything like that, and how lazy some people can get on defense, is key. I really think he's got the skill set. Even though he is skinny, I think he can do his thing.
Yeah, well, the meat doesn't matter as much because of what you said. The way that they call the games, the meat doesn't mean as much as it used to mean. But I also think that given the way that the NBA works, like the politics of the NBA, there's going to be tighter. The season's going to be tighter than what I think people expect. Because I also think that these people know off the top, every team knows that they're going to have to come out playing from game one.
Right.
I think this is the final make or break year for this Clippers team as we see it. I think if they don't get to the conference finals, they're going to have to blow up the team. There's just no two ways about it.
Yeah, definitely. That's for real. And then of course you got who else made some good moves? How's Miami look? I haven't got to check them out.
They're in trouble.
They lost
trouble. They lost Bosch. They lost Wade.
Yeah, and they didn't replace them with anybody of note. So unless they run the entire thing through Whiteside, which they won't do, of course, they're going to have problems. And I really hate the way that their organization is handling the situation with Chris Bosh, because I read something the other day about some monetary loophole they're trying to use to not let him play and then cut him. And then he doesn't work on the cap and blah, 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 blah. It's just an ugly situation. You know, you have the Knicks with the distraction of the Derrick Rose case. He got acquitted now, so perhaps they can actually focus on playing the game. I didn't see anything special coming out of Brooklyn. A lot of these teams.
Brooklyn's rebuilding, and the Knicks, I don't believe in Derrick Rose like that.
I don't believe, truth be told, the person that I believe in most on that team over there is the young kid.
Porzingis?
Yes, Porzingis. Because he actually, you can tell he cares.
Yeah.
The rest of the guys seem like they're real happy to just be living in New York City playing basketball and getting paid by the man.
Right.
I like Rose, man, but last season, man, I got a chance to go to one of the games when he was out here in D.C., and I just didn't like the way he was hobbling around, like when the ball was dead and he was just walking.
Yeah.
He just had that, it seemed like he had that permanent hobble.
Yeah, I know it well, unfortunately, and it seemed like Derrick Rose seems like he played in the NFL as opposed to the NBA. He really got beat up.
Yeah.
And he's really a guy who was talking about his life after basketball.
Before basketball
was over. Right, before, that was like 3 or 4 years ago, and he was talking about his career after basketball.
It was last year. But he's still talking. Yeah, it was. But he's still talking about, it still wasn't the right thing to say. Right. I agree. Now tell me this. So who do you see, how do you feel about your Pacers? DC Slide. I know you're DC Slide, but I know you got an allegiance to the Pacers. What do you think about Paul George? You think he's going to be able to recruit a super team of his own at some point?
Yeah, they could stand to get one more in there. The Pacers have always been good at building good teams. Sometimes they just don't have the personnel. But I like that move they did at point guard, bringing Teague in, another indie boy coming in, and I think they upgraded on the point guard position. So we'll see what happens. They'll make some noise, but yeah, they don't have enough to beat Cleveland, I don't think.
Man, but they got that kid Miles Turner. Miles Turner is a beast.
Yes, he is.
I mean, he's a beast. And you brought in Al Jefferson? Yeah. They got a nice squad.
Yeah,
they do have a nice squad. And Paul George is a legit superstar.
Yeah.
And he should be fully healed now. Like, he should be 100%, 100,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he'll be good. No, they'll make some noise. I just don't see him beating the Cleveland or somebody like that. But, hey, they'll give him some problems. They'll definitely give him some problems. But I think they're probably one more player away to be up there in that super team type category,
Right. Well, all right, DC Slide, I want to thank you for your contribution. Keeping the America safe out there in D.C. You're probably spying on the show right now. You probably got big data. My webcam is being hacked as I speak. You're Mr. Robot.
Cookies all over the place, right?
All right, Slide. We'll wrap with you soon. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks.
All right, man.
Please.
All right, later.
I want to take some time to check in on the call line and see who called on the hotline and answer any of their questions before we get out of here. Let's see what we got.
OZone. This is your boy, the Chop Block, calling in with a basketball fantasy report on Ryan Anderson, brand new forward with the Houston Rockets. Now, Ryan Anderson has a huge opportunity with Houston this year. Dan Antonio, the coach, is known for running up and down the court and shooting at a high rate, something that is going to definitely benefit Ryan Anderson and his particular skill set. Last year, he started for New Orleans. He was okay, but he's going to be better this year. This year, he's one of the leading scorers in the preseason, and I project him to do even better numbers as the regular season starts to hit. Another feature about Ryan Anderson that's going to push fantasy owners over the plateau this year is the fact that Dan Antonio is planning to use Ryan Anderson at center in small ball lineups. Now, with CBS Sportsline, if Ryan Anderson could possibly get 5 starts at center, it's going to be crazy. Absolutely crazy and bonkers. I have him in CBS Sportsline. I'm going to keep him in the Dynasty League. I expect and hope that other owners will keep him the same way. All right? Chop Block signing off.
Chop Block, glad to have him, man.
Yeah.
He's serious about Ryan Anderson. That's a serious report right there. I think he's got stock. Ryan Anderson must be his boy. What's going on, Chop Block? Thanks for calling in, brother. We appreciate your input. I don't have anything to add to that. He was pretty thorough about his take.
Right. Well, he's a part of D'Antoni basketball, and everybody knows they like to get up and down the court and play no defense. So it should be right up the alley for a fantasy squad.
Right? Who else we got?
What up, fellas? I just want to know, is today the biggest day in Cleveland sports history? I mean, it has to be. But are people going to watch the ring ceremony, or are people going to watch the first inning of the baseball game? What do you guys think what's going to happen with that? And then also, I'd love to see Charlie Sheen come out as Wild Thing and throw out the first pitch in the game. I mean, to me, that'd be awesome. But let me know what you guys think later.
Oh, that's cool.
Dennis, thanks for calling in. Thanks for listening to the Ozone. And I think you bring up a great point. Huge night in Cleveland sports, maybe the biggest night in Cleveland sports ever, because it sets the tone. The tone is set as winning. LeBron James and company set that tone, and the Cleveland Indians should actually follow suit, in our opinion. The only other day that I could say would be bigger for Cleveland was potentially the day that Jim Brown retired, because that was the day that all hopes went out of town, and it hasn't been right ever since. But I think you're probably right. What do you think?
It sounds about right. Who do you choose? What do you choose? The ring? The first inning? I always have to go with the first inning.
I'm going with the first inning. Anything can happen in baseball. See, the baseball is not it's not a game that plays on time. So It's not, you don't know, you might miss it.
Yeah.
And truth be told, the first inning might be over before the ring ceremony with the way that things work in the NBA. It could be dragged out for 45 minutes in the NBA.
Everybody bring out their coaches from high school and everything else. Everybody out there crying and everything.
And I tell you what else, I think that he brought up a great point with Charlie Sheen potentially throwing out the first pitch in character as Wild Thing. And it's unfortunate because I think this is where Major League Baseball falls behind with the young kids, because that would be something that's cool.
Right.
And Major League Baseball doesn't seem to understand or embrace the cool factor of the game.
I saw somebody bringing up a point that maybe the Cubs might bring out Bartman for the Cubs game.
That would be hilarious. And you know what? If they did that and they lose, Bartman would probably be assassinated.
Public enemy number one.
He would be Clayton Kershaw's curveball. He's public enemy number one. Yeah.
That was a great call.
It was a great call. What else we got?
Thanks, Dennis.
What up, guys? It's Matt. Hey, I got a question for you. Is Tom Brady the MVP?
I don't think so, because they were 4-1 without him.
And that's just tough for a guy to be the MVP after only playing, 3 games? 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
I mean, we understand the Tom Brady love is real. Tommy is terrific. There's no two ways about it.
Right.
He's living one of the best lives in history.
But it's early to give him the MVP.
It's a little early to give him the MVP this year.
Especially since the team was already winning.
Yeah.
I mean, but that was what we were talking about earlier with the Belichicks of the world. They figured out how to win even without a Tommy Terrific, because Tommy's going to have to retire eventually, and when he does, there's going to be somebody there to replace him.
There you go.
And what about them Raiders?
What about the Raiders? The Raider Nation is in full effect mode here on the Ozone. We got another win. We're in first place. I think that I spoke to a buddy of mine online, and he was right. The Raiders can't keep leaning on their talent to win games. They have to have some more discipline. But you brought up a great point, is that the schedule's working out in their favor to work off the ring rust and work out the kinks. I really think the defense can play tighter. We can play a tighter, more disciplined game. But the team is legit. There's no two ways about it. You can say whatever you want to say. The team is legit.
The team can't be legit without defense.
Whatever, man.
The team can't be legit without defense.
I don't know if you heard the Raiders slogan. It's just win, baby.
Because their defense is ranked 32nd or something crazy.
Yeah, that's all right. We got a new we got a little ways to go, but we're going to get there. Si se puede, vato. Si se puede.
Okay.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us on this action-packed, call-filled version of the Ozone. I'll leave you with a wise quote. And it is that a second chance doesn't mean anything if you haven't learned from your first mistake. Take care of yourself, folks. This is Big O, Ozone.
Peace. Ozone.